Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another segment of Red Dog Bushcraft. I'm Tim Langston, and today we're going to get a little fire going here. We're going to make some wilderness glue. I'm going to be making that out of pine pitch, some rabbit droppings, and some charcoal. Before that, we're going to get a fire going. When I was at the Pathfinder Challenges, I had a little bit of trouble with some of my fires. I was fortunate enough to win that competition, but it wasn't because I was well prepared. I have a system that I like to use to make my fires. I'm going to show you that today, and then once that fire is going, we're going to make us some glue. So stay with me. I'll bring you up closer and we'll get on with it. Okay, what I generally like to do is either build an upside down fire or I like to do a proper lay. Here I have two pieces of wood that are split that are about the size of my forearm, and I have some sticks laid down on the ground. That's to prevent loss of heat from the moist ground. Now this fire bed here is actually set on rocks, but for demonstration purposes, whenever I'm not on top of the a regular fire lay or a fire pit that I normally use, this is the method I like to use. Now here on this leaf, I have some Mayan dust. This is some fat wood right here that I just scrape the knife along. And you don't cut it, you just scrape it like this. And then you take that real fine sawdust, and that's your Mayan dust, and that will accept the spark. I have some fat wood ready to go on top of that. I have some cedar bark, so I've got a little small bird's nest, some pine cones, and then some very small twigs, some larger twigs. These are about as big as my little finger. These are smaller than a pencil. And then I have some oak wood that's dried, that's split up real small, about pencil size. And then I have some fuel woods, and we'll add to that. So I'll get a spark going here, and we'll get our fire going and get on with this, making some glue. If I could hit it. There it goes. Now, put a little fat wood right over top of that. I like to do it at an angle so we don't smother it out. That'll be plenty to get us going. Pine cone on the back side, a little bit of cedar, a couple more pine cones. Wait for that fire, see when it comes up through the bird's nest, that's when we can add some more. I'm going to do it to the side, and then loosely lay my tinder on top. On top of that tinder, I'll go with a little bit larger fuel, crossing it another way. I'll go back with my split sticks, crossing it yet another way, leaving plenty of room for this fire to breathe. Then I'll do some fuel. We'll let that get caught up, and I'll be right back. Well, that can barely see it. There we go. Okay, it's been 3 minutes. I haven't touched that fire, and as you can see, we've got a good fire going. It's not going to take a whole lot of coals for this project, so I'm just going to let that burn down a little bit. Let me show you what we're going to use today to make our glue. Okay, I have a simple Altoids can here, and inside of that, I've got some pine resin. Pulled this off of a pine tree a few weeks ago while I was doing a little walkabout. Here I have a few little rabbit droppings. And here I have some charcoal, coal now, not ash, from my last fire. And I think I've got an equal amount of each one, maybe a little bit heavy on the pine resin. I'm going to mix these together, break it up the best I can, and then set it into fire. I'm going to go ahead and get that mixed up, and I'll show you as I set it into fire. Okay, we're back with about a fourth of this tin 50-50 mix of charcoal and rabbit droppings, and I'm going to set that down in the fire pit on top of these hot coals, and then I'm going to add the pine resin. Word of caution when you're doing this, pick up a little bit more charcoal than what you think you're going to need. A good breeze came and blew off quite a bit of the fine dust. I had to make a little bit of extra, but I had plenty of charcoal. We'll let this start melting, and when it gets melted down, I'll stir it up, I'll bring it back and show you the finished product. See if I can zoom in here on that a little bit. There it sits cooking. Okay guys, here's our finished product, and the formula wound up being about 50% of the pine resin and then a fourth charcoal and a fourth of the rabbit droppings. It took a few minutes to keep pulling it on and off, and one other word to the wise, it flames up when it starts to melt, so either keep the top on it or keep pulling it back and forth off the heat. Mixing it up real well, seems pretty tacky. It's loosening up real well, but as it starts getting cold, it gets real grainy. We'll use that for our arrows, and that'll be on the next video. Take care. Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. God bless.